Hey guys, welcome to the Fumble. I'm Britt Johnson. For more sports news and commentary, make sure you click subscribe and don't forget to follow me on all social media at I am Britt Johnson. The 2020 NFL Draft has come and gone, and what an event it was. This season was the first time the NFL went virtual, and despite a few little snags, the draft went pretty well. Went without a hitch. I loved it. So it's time for me to break down the winners and losers of the 2020 NFL Draft. To kick this off, I may sound a little bit biased here due to the fact that this happens to be my favorite football team, but the team that stole the draft this season goes to my Dallas Cowboys. I'd have to say I don't think Jerry Jones necessarily has a history of actually having terrible draft picks, but I mean, this season was just out of this world. I mean, I think I'm going to have to say that I think every single year, Jerry Jones should make his draft picks from his $250 million yacht, because that was definitely good luck for this team. In the first round, the Cowboys made a petty yet awesome decision by selecting CeeDee Lamb, who the Eagles were looking to possibly draft. Then we got our much-needed cornerback, Trayvon Diggs, and a defensive tackle at a great value on day 2, and finished the draft out on day 3 with an edge rusher and a center. And let's not forget another corner, Roger Robinson, and another quarterback, just in case. Now, talking about how great my Dallas Cowboys did, it gives me so much pleasure to say I have the Eagles as losers. The Eagles actually didn't have a terrible draft, but I'm adding them to this list just because of what happened with the Cowboys. So the Cowboys, as I mentioned earlier, drafted CeeDee Lamb, which was so funny to me because, as everyone knows, the Eagles were looking for a receiver and the Cowboys actually didn't really need one. So then a few picks later, everyone is expecting the Eagles to draft a guy that's a fan favorite, Justin Jefferson at LSU. However, they chose to draft a receiver from TCU, which the Eagles fans were pissed about. Then went on to draft Jalen Hurts, a quarterback, which I love Hurts and all, but that exactly wasn't what the Eagles needed. So, Eagles, what were you actually doing? And while we're here, let's just stay with the NFC East because the Giants actually did win in this draft. I mean, they aren't going to win much this season, but congrats on a decent draft. Although people were a little perplexed with the pick of Andrew Thomas in the first round because, they did have better options at that position. I think the Giants did a good job at finding protection for their new young quarterback and Saquon Barkley with left and right tackles, as well as getting my favorite safety in the draft that I was hoping the Cowboys would get, Xavier McKinney. So, good job. Still ain't gonna win anything. Moving from the NFC East to the NFC North, the Packers took a huge L early in the draft when they decided to trade up in the draft to get Jordan Love, a quarterback out of Utah State. In theory, this would make sense because, Aaron Rodgers is 36. However, the Packers went about it all the wrong way. Trading up seemed pretty desperate considering you have more than a few more years left with Aaron Rodgers. This now, of course, sets alarms off in Rodgers' brain that the same thing will happen to him that the Packers did to Brett Favre. Their next two selections of a running back and a tight end don't seem like the players anyone is super excited about, so the Packers for sure took one of the biggest L's in the draft because this team actually just played in the NFC Championship game this past season and could have made a solid run for the Super Bowl this year if they would have just made better picks. There were so many good wide receivers, and you go with a quarterback that you don't need right now. I feel like Matt Rule's not going to have a job pretty soon. My last big winner was the Bengals. They had the first overall pick in the draft as they were the worst team this past season. And well, they did incredibly well. They took Joe Burrow as expected and also got an amazing receiver in T. Higgins and Logan Wilson at linebacker. They didn't make any crazy selections. All the players that they did looked really well and like they could impact the team immediately this upcoming season and really help turn this franchise around. So I like all the Bengals picks this season. And lastly, it is with great pleasure that I announce that one of the biggest losers in this year's draft. This is great. So let me preface this by saying I started the draft with talking about my favorite team and how they were a winner. So I love that I can end this story with talking about my most hated team as a loser. And that is the New England Patriots. Like, you lose, well, Gronk was already retired, but you end up trading Gronk. He clearly didn't want to play with you guys anymore. You lose Tom Brady, and now you guys draft a bunch of people that nobody really cares about. And all I gotta say, Bill Belichick is ha, 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 ha. We have finally seen the end of the Patriots era. I said it right here and right now in the Fumble. The Patriots will no longer be one of the greatest teams in the league. Sorry for ya. Time for you guys to let me know your biggest winner and biggest loser for the 2020 NFL Draft in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, click subscribe, and shop the Fumble store for the latest game day gear. I'm your host, Britt Johnson for the Fumble, and I'll see you guys soon.